ADOS dude. There was an ADOS dude named Bill something. Bill the Icon.
Right. Bring up all the dirty laundry.
So this here, this story's been going, making the rounds on social media, I guess all week, probably. I think, again, I saw this post first on Twitter. I believe Yvette Carnell, again, shared this on her Twitter feed. And very troubling story about a town in Tennessee, a majority black town in Tennessee, Mason, Tennessee to be exact, which is not only majority black, but most of the city officials and elected officials are black as well. And what is going on, as you can see from the headline, that the comptroller is attempting to take over the city by first suggesting that they voluntarily relinquish their charter. And if they refuse to relinquish their charter, then they're going to go ahead and do what the officials are saying amounts to a hostile takeover of the city's finances, which will put the city at the mercy of the state when it comes to any financial decisions or any expenditures over $100. But we'll get into that story in just a minute. Go ahead and smash that like button for me if you haven't already subscribed to the channel. I please ask that you do so now. I greatly appreciate that. This is just another example of, the legacy of chattel slavery, Jim Crow, black laws, the accrued disadvantage of all of these vestiges which have been transmitted down through the ages through various institutions which carry these ideas forward. They just, implement newer, more modernized, more nuanced, sleeker ways of implementing the very same policies that emanated from slavery. These are one of the things that descendants of chattel slavery have been expressing over the past few years with the resurgence of our reparations claim, is the fact that, and this is an example of how we've never been left alone to prosper, to grow, to fail, even. But we've never been left alone to flourish. And I say this time and time again, especially to those who are newly arrived. My family, my maternal line, I trace back to, well, not that I trace back, but I've already known that, we go back to a town called Wilmington in North Carolina. And Wilmington suffered what they call the Wilmington Massacre, in which the town was pretty much burnt down to the ground. Majority black town. There is a documentary called Wilmington on Fire. You might want to Google that. But this happened around the turn of the century, 1899, 1898, I believe, in which, the white population became hostile, violent toward the black population. And, this was involving those who would be respectable, upstanding city officials who took part in, basically burning down a black town or village. So, Black Wall Street is one that most people know about. And again, government sanctioned destruction of a black town. And it's 2022, and here we have it again. And as you see in the headline, this is just ahead of a major investment by Ford in that community, with an electric car plant. I think they're going to be manufacturing batteries and such. But the Tennessee comptroller, Jason Mumpower, said Tuesday that he will be taking control of the finances of Mason, Tennessee, a majority black town of about 1,500 people located within 5 miles of the future site Blue Oval City, the Ford electric truck and battery plant that represents one of the largest manufacturing investments in the state's history. I'm sad for the taxpayers of Mason, he said. We will be working hard to step in and get their finances in shape. Comptroller's move comes over the objections of Mason's elected officials who have been fighting to maintain control over their town since Mumpower issued an ultimatum last month. Either cede control of Mason's 153-year-old charter or face a financial takeover by the state. Relinquishing its charter would have placed the majority black, majority Democrat town under control of largely white and Republican-led Tipton County. On Monday night, the town's Board of Aldermen in an emergency meeting passed a resolution to keep their charter, Vice Mayor Virginia Rivers said on Tuesday. It was that decision that the comptroller said led him to act. Mumpower staff will likely finalize their takeover plans by the end of next week. This has always been a decision for the Mason Board of Aldermen to make, Mumpower said. A financial takeover will give the comptroller veto power over every expense of $100 or more, limiting the authority of elected officials to embark on plans already underway to implement beautification projects, improve infrastructure, and hire a codes enforcer. Benefit workforce and other budget cuts may soon follow. Rivers said Tuesday that neither she nor any other local official had received any word from Mumpower on the planned takeover. Mason's elected officials will meet as soon as they can to weigh any next steps, she said. Rivers last week likened the comptroller's effort to take control from Mason's duly elected officials as akin to a hostile takeover, coming just as Mason is poised to reap the benefits from billions of dollars in investments in the region from Ford. Mason, which occupies fewer than 2 square miles, lies just 4.5 miles from the newly planned Interstate 40 off-ramp that will bring interstate traffic directly to Blue Oval City. Highway 79, which links Blue Oval to Memphis, runs right past Mason's small central district, and CSX Railroad runs directly through the town on a route that will take it straight to the Blue Oval campus. There's no way Mason won't prosper and grow, Rivers said, and now they want to take it away from us. And that's pretty much the size of it. You know, Mumpower has stated that it's the history, as you see here, a 20-year history of fiscal mismanagement by town leaders that left it with deep debt and crumbling infrastructure. And now, you know, after 20 years, he feels like the state needs to step in. And this shortly after Blue Oval City was announced in fall of 2021. But Mason officials have pushed back on Mumpower's assessment. The town ended up in a $500,000 financial hole caused in large part by fraud and embezzlement during prior administrations, Rivers said. Rivers says she and other officials have been working hard to pay off debts accrued under those previously white administrations. Rivers and other town officials have questioned why Mumpower or other state officials did not intervene before now. Mason, which still serves as home to descendants of freed slaves was led by white officials for more than a century. The town's first black mayor, Gwen Kilpatrick, assumed office in 2015 after allegations of fraud and mismanagement led to the resignations of nearly all City Hall officials who were white. Mason residents have elected black leaders ever since. Mason's current mayor, vice mayor, and 5 of its 6 aldermen are black. So, there you have it. Again, the city's finances were driven into a hole by previous white officials, previous white administration, who, when they were scrutinized for fraud and embezzlement, chose to basically step down. And I'm pretty sure that they were not prosecuted. So after 20 years of mismanagement, with a financial boom on the horizon, now they want to take over this very small town of 1,500 people. But I'm pretty sure that they already have that town already divvied up. They already have plans laid, and they pretty much know what they want to do with it moving forward. But they have not provided any end date, any metrics by which to measure success, so that in the event that they get back on track, that the reins will be handed back over to the local officials. And most instances in which a city's finances are seized by the state, there usually is an end date, with metrics involved in which to meet, so that eventually power can be turned back over to local officials. But again, you guys, Google this story, share this video out to your social media. I'll be back with more on this story. I just wanted to put something in the mix, as this story is gaining steam. And, I believe we should all be vocal about this and, do whatever we can to get the word out, so that we can try to, I don't know. I'm not sure what we can do, but we must bring awareness. And that's the purpose of this video here. If you found this informative, again, go ahead and smash that like button for me. If you haven't already subscribed, go ahead and smash that subscribe button and make sure you hit notifications so that you'll be alerted next time I drop content. It's your man Online Bill Money signing off. I'll see you on the other side.